Hey, folks. Jeff here on another hot motherfucking day in July. Rocking the Gatorade today instead of beer. Goddamn, is it hot. But, anyways, I got lots of catching up to do on my reviews. I've seen lots of movies. I haven't done videos for them. Figure I'd start off with Hot Tub Time Machine because it's the most recent out of any of the movies I'm going to review coming up. And so it's probably on people's minds. And this is a movie I could only describe as, accurately as slightly disappointing. It's disappointing because, well, for one, it got great marks from critics and friends, and almost everyone I talked to liked this movie, except someone that just told me on Twitter they thought it was mediocre. Javi. Um, it was just, that so it set my expectations high. It's also slightly confusing to me that I don't like it because I like the premise. I like comedies or action movies or anything that tries to have a little heart to it and humanity, which it tries to do that. I like the like I said, I like the premise. I like the cast. I like the '80s. I grew up in the '80s. I remember them. I like all the little references to the '80s in this, but like unfortunately, this movie has one fatal flaw, and that's that it's not that funny. Unfortunately, I mean, the New York Post says it's funnier than The Hangover. Not even close. Um, and really, beyond just not being funny, it's also sort of depressing. The premise is, I mean, see if you agree with me when I'm talking about what it's about here. The premise is three, lifelong buddies who are now middle aged. Rob Corddry, one of them, you know, accidentally or purposely tries to kill himself. And so his other two buddies, who he hasn't seen in a long time, John Cusack and Craig Robinson, go and see him at the hospital. Like, you know what, we're gonna go for a weekend at their old their old hangout, their glory days place, which is like this ski lodge. They go there. The place is run down. Most of the businesses are closed. Like most things now these days, it sucks compared to what it used to be. And so they just sit in the hot tub, party it up, and somehow travel back in time to the '80s to probably the biggest, most exciting weekend of their life. And it's interesting, unlike a lot of time travel movies where, like, Back to the Future, you have to avoid running into your old self. What happens here is they like inhabit their younger selves. So they are themselves in the past. They look like themselves now, but if they look in the mirror, they see themselves as 19. And with them also is John Cusack's nephew, this little dweeb. I don't know his name, Clark Duke as Jacob. And they get to relive one of the biggest weekends of their lives. And it takes a lot of cues from Back to the Future and other time travel movies where if you go back in time, if you change one little thing, it could have this ripple effect that changes everything. So basically, their whole, like the whole plot of the movie is them trying to do everything the same as they did back then, but at the same time, none of their lives have turned out great in the future. They're all middle-aged people who their dreams were never fulfilled, and some of them are like suicidal. So they know that they're supposed to do everything the same, but there's a part of them that wants the opportunity to change things. That's a good premise. I like it. I like that it's kind of goofy. It doesn't try to scientifically explain the time travel really, and it pokes jokes at the whole like notion of all the plot holes that you run into with time travel stories. Well, just like I said, I mean, there's something sad about the story that usually, like I said, I like a little heart to it, but it's just you have to have the funny to balance it out. And in here, yes, there's parts that made me laugh. Probably the funniest part is when they first realized they're in the '80s. Everyone's wearing bright, happy clothes. They're all wearing black. They go into the ski lodge and they just get like an '80s sensory overload, like MTV, Reagan, people with cassette. That's the thing that finally sends Craig Robinson over to someone has a Walkman, cassette player. That's probably like the funniest scene. There is some funny stuff near the end with John Cusack just completely going overboard on shrooms and coke and stuff. But like even that, there's kind of like a pathetic, like kind of sadness to it. The fact that he's like so unhappy that he just wants to. I don't know. And like the thing is, there's no like in The Hangover, you have the one Zach Galifianakis that upstaged all the other guys except for maybe what's his name, the dork. Here it's like they all give kind of equally semi-funny performances. They try to make Rob Corddry the like the really extreme funny like Galifianakis guy, but there's something just really sad about Corddry's character. Really kind of sad where the story goes. I know there's people that'll come back and say, "Oh, but it has a happy ending," and yeah, it does. It finds the right balance and stuff like that. It's just like I said. Unfortunately for me, most of it isn't funny. I'm still giving this movie like a positive rating, but it's a very, very like hesitant, reluctant positive rating. Like you know, really, Rob Corddry does kind of stand out as like really kind of sad, pathetic character. Um, it's kind of dark. There's just the material is a little dark. It's not funny. I mean, like, it's not funny that someone's so sad that they want to commit suicide. I don't know. Craig Robinson has some good bits. Probably the funniest thing about Craig Robinson is, he loves his wife, but she's cheated on him. But he's back in the past, and he's supposed to cheat on her, but he doesn't want to do it. That leads to some funny moments. It just needed more funny though. It puts too much into the heartfelt and the story aspect of it. When this should be kind of a goofy comedy. I mean, it is called Hot Tub Time Machine, and the humor is, for something that simultaneously wants to be very heartfelt. It's also pretty raunchy humor, and just none of this all the humor really works, man. I'm really sorry to say. Um, I'm probably gonna be selling this on YouTube or on eBay. Um, as for the Blu-ray, it's kind of not that great. You do get the digital copy and the DVD with the Blu-ray, but they put all the special features onto the DVD disc. I understand that the special features might be standard definition, but you could at least throw them on the Blu-ray disc also. And it's kind of like it seems like skimpy features. Oh, you get the theatrical and unrated, and you get some production stuff, Chevy Chase stuff, totally radical outfits, some deleted scenes. Really not much. You don't get a commentary. You don't get a behind the scenes. And I don't know. I guess people like this movie. For me, it missed the mark, so kind of. And it's really hard for me to put my finger on why exactly I don't like it. Especially considering I like a lot of the ideas behind it. I like the fact that they're like unhappy with their lives and they don't get to see each other anymore. Like they said they're going to be friends and make a business and stuff together, and they're not doing that. And it's like that's all stuff that's based in reality, and I like that. It's stuff that people do have to deal with in life. But just the humor's off, man. The humor's either missing or off for a lot of it. Most of the humor is amusing, but not laugh out loud funny. So all things considered, it sounds like I'm really coming down on this. It's just I was kind of surprised because I set my expectations so high for it. I think if you go in expecting nothing, I think you're gonna be surprised and like it. I think that's why I got a lot of good ratings from critics and just people in general, because they went in like, oh, this is some stupid hot tub time machine, and it does have something to say. For me, it was the opposite, and I'm giving it a very mild 3 out of 5 stars. Stay tuned for the rest of today. I'm going to be doing at least another review, probably multiple reviews today. Thanks for watching, guys.